Shalom, Yasharala Shalom. It's the brother Ash Ibad coming back in the spirit, giving all praises to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai. And a mighty Shalom to all you brothers across the four winds of the earth, pushing the truth and fullness and sincerity to the lost sheep, and peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect. So I want to read this real quick. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 1. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. So the reason why I read that is because, there's certain brothers with platforms, there's certain men out here, who do their best to be vigilant, because that devil Esau, man, he coming down strong. And if you brothers get caught off guard in these times, this is probably going to be the worst time for you to be caught slipping. This is 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So if you a lost sheep, if you a sheep out here who can't hear the voice of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, who can't hear the voice of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, you gonna be out here like a sitting duck, man. You gonna be getting ready to get, cut up in the slaughter, because there's a lot of things that have been happening that a lot of people don't realize. You see that slap that Will Smith, did on Chris Rock that was heard around the world was really just, how do I play it? Hiding what was really going on behind the scenes. I was watching a video from this dude. He a Christian, but his name is Truth Unedited. And basically, I was watching this video about how they had a world summit, and they were announcing how the world is ready for a world order. And you brothers constantly see it. Joe Biden mentioned it 2-3 weeks ago. World order. It's not a conspiracy no more. Even back in 2020, when I first, found out about a lot of these things going on, man, I was thinking like, man, when 19 happened, this looked like it's about to be the start of a new world, you know what I'm saying? But now we actually have, outlets like CNN, BC. We got outlets like the BBC talking about the CHIP. And obviously, brothers know I got to talk in code, because even though my channel is shadow banned, you can still get strikes and things like that for, word-sensitive words. So the reason why I'm bringing this out is, brothers got to be prepared. And for those of y'all who steadfast in the faith, all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you understand what's to come. But a lot of brothers think that prophecy is going to unfold 20, 30, 40 years. And look, no man knows the day or the hour. Don't ever let a man tell you when the end's going to come. Still got to get on these false prophets who said World War III was going to start in February and how the elect going to get. Look, we don't know that, but you don't want to sit here and prophesy when things are going to happen. But basically, there's a lot of mindsets about how, this thing might not happen in our lifetime, but when you discern the times and when you really see and understand the things that are going on, you see that Esau is ready to come down with that hammer. You see that Esau is ready to come down with that sword, because at the end of the day, the sword of the wicked is just the sword of the Heavenly Father. So the Most High is getting ready to wrap this thing up, and he's putting certain men and giving certain brothers understanding, and giving certain men and women to be able to see these things for themselves, to be able to prepare themselves. So, I want to get into these articles. If you brothers watched that video about World War III, or the video I made, I want to say a month and a half ago, when the thing with Ukraine started, I had mentioned how I personally feel like this is just a start of something to, speed up what's going to happen with inflation, with the economic collapse, with the housing collapse, with the stock market collapse, there's like 15 collapses just ready to go. It's like a building that's just ready to be destroyed with a stick of dynamite. That's the U.S. economy. So basically what they're doing with Russia and Ukraine is they're setting the stage on why they need a new world order, right? You got the 19, you got economic turmoil, you got supply shortages, you have food shortages that are being stated by the President of the United States. You have all these things coming, and then to top it off, you still have from 2020 Black Lives Matter and all that political turmoil and all these different opinions and viewpoints that are fragmenting this country, right? So now when they're announcing these things, it means that they're ready to mold and to program the people to believe in the new system that they're coming up with. They're not just going to bring this to you like it's nothing. This is going to be something that they're going to program and engraft in the minds of the sheeple, in the minds of all the people on the earth, right? So you brothers got to understand these things. You got to be prepared. They're going to set up the one world government. That's what they're trying to do. Now, how is it going to happen? No man knows. We don't know, but that's one of the main tenets, is that it's going to be the MOTB, is going to be the initiation into this government, but they still have to create the government for all the people to be begging for, right? So I'm going to get into this article. This came out April 3rd. There was like this huge conference, and I would normally bring out the video, but for whatever reason, my computer, when I stream, is always delayed. So I'm just going to read it off the article. So this is from CNBC, for those of y'all who hating on quote-unquote conspiracy theories, right? It says, a new world order is emerging, and the world is not ready for it. Are we ready for the new world order? So when you see something so blatant, it tells you that this is what they're going to do. A lot of people are delusional. I talked to certain family members and I said, hey, you know that Biden and these powers announced the new world order. And she knew what I was talking about. She tried to act like, oh, there's not the world order that you're going to talk about, because they don't truly believe. They don't believe in the vision. The book of Habakkuk chapter 2. So they're showing you plain what they're going to do. Let's continue on though, right? The provocative title of the panel that led off the ambitiously named World Government Summit here last week was framed to suggest that the new global order is emerging and the world is not ready for it. There has been a proliferation of writing about who will shape the future world order since Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his invasion on Ukraine on February 24th. And that's what I was explaining to y'all brothers, and other brothers as well have been, bringing this information out, is that they're setting up these mini conflicts to show that there's a great world conflict, and they're creating the problem so they can offer you the solution. The problem is worldwide chaos, physically, environmentally, spiritually, economically, politically, militaristically, technologically. So their solution is going to be a one world government, right? So when you understand that, you understand what they're going to set up and how it's going to look. And that's, in my opinion, what I feel like the invasion of Ukraine was really about. It also got the people used to paying more for their goods, and it created that narrative about inflation, right? Which was really just masking all the money that they printed out the last 2 years to give people stimulus checks. But that's just it's just a cause and effect. They're putting a narrative on why things are going to be like how they're going to be in the next 6 months to a year. So let's continue. It says, the tempting conclusion: should Ukraine survive as an independent, sovereign, democratic country, the U.S. and Europe-backed forces will regain momentum against the previously ascendant Russian-Chinese forces of authoritarianism, oppression, and, at least in Putin's case, evil. So remember what these devils do, right? They hit you on both sides. I think it's called the Hegelian dialectic, right? It's not specifically from the top and from the bottom, as above, so below, but it's similar to like the Democrats and the Republicans. They show you two sides, two opposite parties when they're both on the same team. Russia, China, America, they're all in. They're all being controlled by who? The international bankers, those elite banking families, the banking families that Satan does his bidding through, right? So realistically, authoritarianism and democracy are on the same side. It's just two sides of the same coin. Always remember that, right? So whichever you get, it doesn't matter. So whether Ukraine survives or whether Russia survives, it doesn't matter whatsoever. They're just debating on who's going to be the head. Is it going to be Chinese, open authoritarianism, communism, or is it going to be the masquerade that the U.S. has been doing on its people for the last, I want to say 100 to 150 years? That's what they're deciding right now. And they're seeing what the people like and what they don't like. Now let's continue on. That sounds like good news, but there is a downside. And let me increase this a little bit more. It says the Russian invasion of Ukraine and a series of sickness related shutdowns in China do not on the surface appear to have much in common. Yet both are accelerating a shift that is taking the world in a dangerous direction, splitting it into two spheres, one centered on Washington, D.C., the other on Beijing. My conversations in Dubai at the World Government Summit show little enthusiasm or conviction for this bifurcated vision of the future. The Middle East participants have no interest in abandoning relations with China, the leading trading partner for Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, or breaking with Russia, which established itself as a force to be reckoned with when it saved Syrian President Bashar al-Assad through his military intervention in his war. Beyond that, our Mideast partners have lost confidence in America's commitment to global leadership or competence for its following last year's botched Afghanistan withdrawal. And then let me just say this, that Afghanistan withdrawal was so scripted. Everything that Biden has done is so scripted and so obvious that you would have to be a damn fool. You would have to have your head in the toilet to not understand what these people are doing. It's so obvious, but only if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, right? But let's continue on. So basically what they're doing is, again, they're creating a narrative on how American leadership isn't what it once was, it's not what it needs to be, and why they need to implement a new world government, a new governmental system. You see what I'm saying? So let's continue on. It says they are also experiencing whiplash from a Trump administration that trashed the nuclear deal with Iran to a Biden administration they feel is pursuing it without sufficiently factoring in Tehran's regional aggression. In all my many travels to the Mideast over the year, I've never heard of the level of frustration from Mideast government officials with American policymakers. That said, they are watching Ukraine with fascination because a Ukrainian victory will force a rethink about the U.S. commitment and competence and shift the trajectory of declining transatlantic influence and relevance. Conversely, a Putin victory would accelerate Western decline as an effective global actor. So basically what they're showing you is the changing of the guard that brothers that, you brothers and you sisters have obviously known and obviously shown. Where Yahweh Bashim Shai is, again, he's fracting the foundation of this country that's already been in a cycle of downward destruction for the last 20, 30 years, 40 years. But right now it's being put on the forefront that America is about ready to go. And once they get the people's mind right, once they get the setting right, that's when they're going to come down with great wrath. That's when they're going to come down with heavy restrictions, heavy economic restrictions, food rationing, water rationing, persecution of the saints, persecution of anybody who doesn't bow down to the image. So you got to understand that they're going to set up this system, and they're going to set up many different things, but you have to be able to be prepared and understand what you're dealing with, right? And understand where we're at in prophecy. All right. I'll read now. My own answer to the panel question on a preparedness for the New World Order was to quote Henry Kissinger's in questioning the premise, no truly global world order has ever existed, which is it's a lie in a sense, because there's always been a global world order ever since the elites came into power. It's just that they were in the back, but now they're coming into the forefront. Everything in the dark is being brought into the light. As more and more information comes out, what truly happens behind the scenes, the political powers, the economic powers, the militaristic powers, and the deception that they've been placing upon us for the last few centuries is just coming into the forefront. So there's always been a global world order. It just was never known to the public, because at the end of the day, Esau's gift was that he would have a worldwide dominion. Let me get that in the book of Genesis. I think it's 27. Yeah, it should be Genesis 27. All right, let's go to Genesis 27, verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto Esau, behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have the dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck. So again, you got to understand, this is Esau's worldwide dominion. This is his world, the end of the world dominion that was stated in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 6. Either 9 verse 6 or 6 verse 9. I don't remember off the top of my head. So brothers got to understand that they've always had a world dominion. Salaki, I closed the tab on accident. They've always had a world dominion. It's just that they never told the people that they had a world dominion, right? So let's read it down. What passes for order in our time was devised in Western Europe nearly 4 centuries ago at a peace conference in the German region of Westphalia, conducted without the involvement or even the awareness of most other continents or civilizations. Over the following centuries, its influence spread. With that as context, the question is not what the world order would be, but rather if the U.S. and its allies can, through Ukraine, reverse the erosion of the past century's gain as a first step toward establishing the first truly global world order. So do you listen to what they're saying? They're literally telling you what they're about to do. They said the question is not what the new world order would be. So what they're telling you is they already have a world order set up. They already have the system set up. They already have the system set up. They're just trying to decide who's going to be the figurehead, who's going to be the head beast in charge, who's going to be the head of the beast in charge, right? It's simple. And obviously we know that the whore of Babylon, aka America, has been on top. But for this system that they're trying to set up, they're showing you the changing of the guard. We don't know if it's going to be led by, it's more than likely going to be led by China. But they could have something where they have joint, we don't really know how it's going to be, but we do understand that it's going to be connected as one world order, one world system, right? So it says, so let's read it. It says, establishing the first truly global world order. I'm going to read down. I don't want to read all this. All right, I'm going to go down right here. It says, what has been eroding now for some years is U.S. leaders' commitment to defend, uphold, and advance the expanded international order, what Kissinger called an inexorably expanding corporative order of states observing common rules and norms, embracing liberal economic system, forswearing territorial conquest, respecting national sovereignty, and adopting participatory and democratic systems of government. Yeah, this is pretty much a waste of my time. Let's go right here, brothers. So we read down. It says, in the Middle East, countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates that were once our closest allies now are hedging their bets. Beyond the Iran disagreement, the failure of former President Trump to accept his own defeat raises doubts among our friends about the durability of the American political system and the consistency of U.S. foreign policy. So they're telling you that they have doubts about the American political system. And you got to understand, if these politicians really wanted to pass something through the Senate, they easily could. But they've been having this bipartisanship, not allowing things to come together, showing their incompetence to show the entire world that the guard is being changed, right? Now let's continue on, though. It says, beyond that, our Mideast friends resent Biden's administration's characterization of the emerging global contest as one pitting democracy versus authoritarianism. So basically the Middle East is saying they resent Biden trying to have a two-faced front of democracy versus authoritarianism, good versus evil. Let's read it. It says, every democratic attempt in the Arab world has turned ideological or tribal. So I'm not sure it's something we can work out successfully. President Joe Biden's decision to release on Thursday an unprecedented 180 million barrels of crude from the U.S. Petroleum Reserve was an acknowledgement that America's traditional oil-producing partners were not prepared to help him. The decision came hours after OPEC ignored calls from the Western politicians to pump oil more quickly and to resist any suggestion that they should remove Russia from the organization. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov visited New Delhi this week to thank India for its refusal to join sanctions against Russia, an approach shared by Brazil, Mexico, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates. We will be ready to supply to India any goods which India wants to buy. To shape the future world order, the U.S. and Europe first need to reverse the trajectory of Western democratic decline in Ukraine. The rest will need to follow. So this is very revelatory. It may not seem like a lot, but the fact that they're putting this on the forefront truly shows you where the world is with Mystery Babylon. They're having these leaders that they've set up, these puppet leaders, turn on America so that way they can have a new system being set up. And that's biblical prophecy, that the vast majority of the merchants, not the merchants, but the vast majority of Mystery Babylon's allies would eventually turn against it. And at the end of the day, it is biblical prophecy. And there's a lot of other brothers, from other camps who break this down great. I'm not the best when it comes to this, but y'all brothers can go on these other pages and really understand through prophecy what's going to happen when Europe turns its back on the United States. And America's pretty much done. So basically, they're ready to wrap this thing up, circle it down the drain, completely flush it down to the shithole, and implement their new system, which is going to be what? Digital currency. I didn't get the article where it talks about how they're going to set up a digital system, but the system is going to be initiated with, you guessed it, right? The MOTB, the CHIP, the Karagma, right? And if you brothers don't understand what that is, brother, you got to really, come on, bro. You got to research. You got to get your head out of the clouds, bro, because every brother who's truly, sincerely in the truth is going to tell you what the MOTB really, really is. One thing you got to notice is if the person you watching and following is not telling you plainly what the MOTB is, you got to look at them kind of funny, because at the end of the day, this is one of the most important biblical prophecies in our times that brothers need to get. Now let's read the scripture before we get this article. It's probably one of the most famous scriptures in the Bible, right? Revelation 13, and I'll read verse 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he did great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by those means of the miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by his sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So the image of the beast is literally being set up right now. The beast system is being set up. First and foremost with the jab and all these other things, the economic, medical system, the authoritative system. And right now they're just revealing how big and how vast the beast system truly is. Because for those of y'all brothers who have faith and understand the Bible, and the Most High has blessed you with eyes to see and ears to hear, you've known that they were going to set it up, but it was behind the scenes. So you had to do a lot of research. You had to dig into books. You had to look up, deleted videos. But now that they're giving these things to the masses, they're giving it to you, but with the perspective of it being great for all, because now they're ready to unveil it. And this is the key cornerstone of them unveiling it. This is it right here, Revelation 13 and 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell unless he had that mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And that brings me to this page right here. This is by the BBC, literally on the BBC, for people, again, who call us conspiracy theorists and cult leaders and all these things, right? The micro implant that lets you pay with your hand. And brothers have been doing videos on this for a long time. There's been a lot of, I did a video, I want to say like 3 months ago, about the tattoo artist of death, how they promoted a tattoo artist named Hades, and he was licensed to be able to give people an implant. So these things have been coming more and more into the public. Now they're trying to make it mainstream, right? And they're trying to link it with what? Digital pay. I've been going crazy with this damn phone pay, bro. I be losing my card all the time. It's so convenient. You go to certain stores in certain cities, they all have the pay now. The gas station, the restaurant, your local dealer, local trade. They're getting everybody convinced to use your phone so they can track everything and eventually translate you into the MOTB. So let's read it. Patrick Paulman causes a stir whenever he pays for something in a shop or restaurant. This is because the 37-year-old doesn't need to use his bank card or his mobile phone to pay. Instead, he simply places his left hand near the contactless card reader and the payment goes through. And you got to also look and understand, right? He put it in his left hand. The reason why they want you to see that is to think, because Revelation says that if you put it in your right hand, you're going to be fine. But it doesn't matter. If you read Revelation chapter 20, I think it's verse 4 or verse 5, where it said those who had not received marks in their hands. It doesn't matter which hand you put it in. Don't let any man deceive you by thinking you can place it in your left hand and the Most High not gonna kill you. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be either in either hand or it's gonna be in your forehead. Don't be a fool. Don't be simple-minded, Jake. So getting back to the article, right? It says, instead, he simply places his left hand near the contactless card reader and the payment goes through. The reactions I get from cashiers are priceless, says Mr. Pralman, a security guard from the Netherlands. Again, you got the Netherlands, you got Europe coming up in the scene. I think a few months ago, or 6, 7, 8, I don't remember when, but there was, I think, a woman from Sweden or Norway. So they definitely got it out there. It's a part of their society, and now they're going to move it to other societies across the globe, right? It says he's able to pay using his hand because back in 2019, he had a CHIP injected under his skin. The procedure hurts as much as when someone pinches your skin, says Mr. Palmer. And then you see it right here. They pretty much put a chip reader in his hand, which is the technology that they're going to be using. So again, brothers, it's not the jab. It's not the booster. It's none of that, bro. It's a literal insertion into your hand that's using the same technology as what's in your phone. So you brothers got to understand that. You see what I mean? Now continuing on. It says a micro was first implanted in a human back in 1998, but it's only during the past decade that the technology has been available commercially. And when it comes to implantable, you know what? They say that last year became the first company to offer them for sale. The implant can be used to pay for a drink on the beach in Rio, a coffee in New York, a haircut in Paris, or at your local grocery store, says founder and chief executive Wojtek Paprota. It can be used wherever contactless payments are accepted. So this is going to be a part of the global system. You can travel to every country. We can all come together. We're going to be one nation under God, aka the Horn God. And we're all going to love one another under the guise of our deity, right? Of our deity. So you brothers got to see how they're setting it up. It's going to be political. It's going to be spiritual. It's going to be governmental, and it's going to be financial. It's going to be all one big system, right? So let's continue on. It says, while a modern CHIP, which weighs less than a gram and is a little bigger than a grain of rice, is comprised of a tiny micro and an antenna cased in a biopolymer, a naturally sourced material similar to plastic. Mr. Paprota adds that it is entirely safe, has regulatory approval, works immediately after being implanted, and will stay firmly in place, does not require a battery or other power source. The firm says it is now sold more than 500 of the CHIPs. The technology uses near-field communication, the contactless payment system in smartphones. Other payments implants are based on the RFID, which is similar technology typically found in physical contactless debits and credit cards. So this is the next big transition from physical cash to the physical card to your physical phone to a physical CHIP in your hand, you know? And I'm gonna read this. It says, for many of us, the idea of having such a chip implant, having such a CHIP implanted in our body is an appalling one. But a 2021 survey of more than 4,000 people across the US and the European Union found that 51% would consider it. And this is probably a made-up number. We have no clue who could have. These surveys is all over the place. It's all manipulation. You can't believe anything that you read on the internet. But they're trying to hit you and say it's not that bad, but I understand, you know, how bad you may feel. But a lot of people are coming on to this. That's what they're trying to tell you with that, right? Is there anything else that I want to read from this? I'll read it right here. It says, yet while she says that many people are open to the idea as it will make paying for things quicker and easier, the benefit must be weighed up with the risk, especially as and when embedded CHIPs carry more of our personal information. How much are we willing to pay for the sake of convenience, she says. Where do we draw the line when it comes to privacy and security? Who will be protecting the critical infrastructure and the humans that are part of it? And I don't really want to read too much of this, but I just want to get that for y'all brothers to understand that, hey man, that time is here. And at the end of the day, if you're not preparing your soul for this and you're not preparing your mind and understanding the mindset that you have to be in for the times to come, you're not going to make it. It is what it is. When you first come into this truth and you see it, you're scared, you're worried, you don't really know how things are going to happen. But once you get that spirit of might placed upon you by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, if the Lord is dealing with you, you're going to be able to handle all these things, Let's get this in the book of, let me see, I read this today. I think it's Mark chapter 9, but let me see real quick. Yeah, it's Mark chapter 9. Slocky. So this is Mark chapter 9 and Slocky, give me 1 second. Matthew 9, chapter 47. And if your eye offend you, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter into the kingdom of Yahweh with one eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire, where their worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. For everyone shall be salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. And remember that salt is synonymous for Jake, but it's synonymous with us being a sweet savor, right? A sweet savor unto the Lord. When we would burn certain animals on the altar, the Most High would tell us to season it, right? And burn it on the fire, and it would be a sweet savor unto Him. So basically right now, what the Lord is going to be doing to everybody in the nation of Israel is He's going to be burning you with fire. And either you're going to get burnt up, the pressure is going to be too hot, you're going to fall for the pressure, and eventually you're going to be burned by the unquenchable fire, or you're going to be burnt up, you're going to be refined, and the Most High is going to deem you worthy. That's why it says, everyone shall be salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. So brothers got to understand that's that fiery affliction that's going to come upon all of us. I'll read this again in the book of Sirach. Let me get this real quick. This is the book of Sirach, and we'll go to chapter 2, verse 5. It states, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. And any of you brothers who are new to the truth, or you kind of low in the faith, you kind of worried, read Sirach chapter 2. It's a beautiful chapter. And it just basically entails that you got to have faith and you got to believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. Let's read verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that calleth upon him? And for the Lord is full of compassion, mercy, long-suffering, very pitiful, forgiveth sins and saveth in the time of affliction. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth both ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. Woe unto you that have lost patience. And what will you do when Yahweh shall visit you? So brothers got to understand that the Most High is starting to visit the earth. His coming is soon. His son's coming is soon. So, brothers got to understand these things is all being set up. This is just the start. We still got to deal with the abomination of desolation being set up. You seeing all these transformers. You seeing all these abominations that are popping up out the woodwork because the spiritual energy of the world is becoming more and more wicked, right? That system that was in ancient Rome and ancient Greece with blatant open veneration of these deities and these acts, the people going out to play, the people going out to just show you who they really are, it's coming onto the world right now. Why do you think the world is getting cursed and cursed and cursed and cursed with every passing day? It says, this is Matthew 24, verse 15, it says, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. And in this time period, the abomination of desolation being set up is being set up by this system. You see Joe Biden passing these days for all type of, T words, and you got women worship going on. You got all these things because they're venerating the true deities of the society more and more in plain view. I had seen something last week or the week before about how they have a symbol for LGBTQ and then the P symbol. And for those of y'all brothers who could put P, it's talking about little kids, man. All these things are coming. That man boy love and all that stuff is coming. So that's what's also going to come as they continue to get closer and closer and closer to setting up their world system, their world government, because it's finances, it's political, and it's also spiritual. And that's what's being said. We still have to wait on that as well before this place fully collapses. But these things are happening. So you brothers gotta gird up your loins. You brothers gotta get your house in order, man. You gotta be in your house shah. Let's read Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, who is standing for the children of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So that time is coming upon us every day, every hour, every second, every minute. We getting closer and closer. For those of y'all who's in heavy denial and don't want to believe in the truth, man, don't want to believe in how about Shem Shah, man, you're going to have a horrible judgment. This is Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Except those days shall be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Meaning that this time is getting quicker. You see the days going by. We damn near halfway through April, bro. We finna be in 2023 pretty soon, bro. Watch. You're gonna blink an eye. It's gonna be November. So brothers gotta understand that as the days get shorter and shorter, they're going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, because the Most High has to shorten these days in order to save his elect. So a lot of things is going to come in the woodworks, being that they've shown you and they're announcing these things. And you brothers want to be in a good stead. Let's read Matthew 24, verse 10. It says, I'll read verse 9. Actually, I'll just read verse 6, man. And you shall hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that you be not in trouble, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Famines, pestilences, and earthquakes shall be in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you to be afflicted and kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall be abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So brothers got to understand all the implications of what's to come. When you see these prophecies unfolding, understand that everything that's going on is going to affect you. It may not affect you directly right now, but affliction, persecution, death, betrayal. Brothers in the truth going to betray one another. Many are going to be offended in the fact that they have to make their body a living sacrifice for the Lord. They're going to be offended that they have to stand up for the truth, get beheaded, get persecuted, get waterboarded. The time has come. So you got to pray and ask the Most High for mercy, that he placed that spirit of you to endure. That he placed that spirit of you to endure that baptism of suffering, dog. Because again, we have no clue who's going to make it. And it's all of the Lord's will. It's all of Yahweh Shem Shah's will, man. Let's go to Luke chapter 18, verse 7. And shall not Yahweh avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? And we going into that dark time where the vast majority of people on earth are going to lose faith. And the vast majority of those of the nation of Israel is going to lose faith as well, except the very elect. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Lord willing, brothers, kind of see what's going on, the signs of the times. May the Most High be with you. May you brothers be blessed. And of course, I give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. And mighty Shalom unto the nation of Yahshua.